November 20th to January 5th, I get no new referrals every year, and I get a 30% no-show rate and 30% fewer appointments scheduled, and then all of a sudden it's Christmas, and gee, I'm not making enough money to buy my kids presents this year or whatever. So she really takes you through the mentality of how to really define what you want to be and what you want to offer the world, and to let that be your selling point. And her contention is that by so doing, you end up becoming a wealthy therapist, a wealth of enjoyment and satisfaction from your work, as well as enough money coming in to stay in business. There's nothing that will hinder your effectiveness in private practice more than worrying about whether you're going to be able to pay your bills next month or not. And so the last book I'll recommend to you, and then we will talk a little bit more about this, is From Therapist to Coach. Let's see, there it is. From Therapist to Coach, How to Leverage Your Clinical Expertise to Build a Thriving Coaching Practice by David Steele. This is a book that has a different framework. The first book I showed you is pretty traditional private practice, office setting with a shingle out, so to speak. The Wealthy Therapist book takes you more along the lines of how to be a creative and make a difference broader. And From Therapist to Coach is a totally different approach that says that it's just a totally different business model, and it's a compelling and exciting way to look at things. So as you embark on this effort to become an MFT intern, I would encourage you to start building your private practice now, as soon as you get into a place, meaning start learning what it means and how that feels to you, and building towards that and being effective at doing that. A couple of other pieces of advice I would offer if I had to do over again as a therapist, I would be a lot more diligent about self-care and time management and money management. I would study the things I've studied. It's taken me 15 to 16 years to figure out certain things that would have been figured out a lot earlier if I'd have just studied the way I've studied the last few years. So Getting Things Done by David Allen, and let's see, a book called Mastering the Rockefeller Habits by Vern Harnish are a couple of books I would recommend to you to start studying. It's just a paradigm for how to organize your time, how to organize your inbox, how to organize your to-do lists in sort of radical ways that are really helpful. And the Rockefeller Habits is about running an organization, getting alignment between you and all the folks that work with you. So study those things, get good at time management, make sure you're exercising, eating right, sleeping consistently. You're going to be a lot happier, you're going to be more effective, and that's going to show in your work and in your personal life. And then you're also going to want to really decide what you want to do. In your private practice and your interning, you're going to take whatever clients come in the door, but start figuring out who you're really passionate about working with and who you're really good at working with, because that will build a happy and successful and thriving practice. You've all been in a situation where a salesman is trying to sell you something, and you can tell that they don't really give two bits about what they're selling. They're not excited about what they're selling. On the other hand, when somebody really believes in a product, it's fun to be sold by them. And if you want a good experience about how to run a private practice, go to an Apple store, not like a store that sells fruit, but the Apple computer store. They have made a science of figuring out how to make it a pleasant experience to buy a product, and staffing their sales force with people who are totally converted and excited about the product. You leave there feeling like you've won the lottery because you just spent $800 on a handheld device. That's how you want people to feel about your practice. You want them to feel like that you're a believer in what you do. And that would be another suggestion I give you, is that how can you be a believer in what you're offering if you've never utilized what you're offering? So I strongly encourage you to go to therapy, to take advantage of the opportunity. That's hard for some of us because we don't want to admit that, well, I'm the therapist, I'm the strong one, I don't need therapy. Um, well, whether you need it or not, um, you know, schedule time to work on yourself and your deeper issues and hire a trusted guide to do that for you. Uh, but in addition, where you may not necessarily want or be able to be in therapy consistently for your whole career, or maybe you don't even need that, but be a therapist, be engaged in therapeutic activities. As I teach theories in counseling, for example, or child and adolescent, I come across many ideas that ring to me that I've never thought of before because I'm in a new developmental stage. I have a teenager. My oldest is 14. So everything I've ever studied about adolescence prior to now is taking on a new meaning for me. So always be studying and learning and bettering yourself and gaining a testimony of the value of what you do. I have the testimony of the value of client-centered therapy. I have a testimony of the value of applied behavioral analysis. Why? Because I've done ABA studies on myself and successfully changed problem behaviors that have plagued me for years. And in a matter of weeks, I've been able to reverse those. And then with client-centered therapy, I've seen the value. I've seen people open up and seen people change their lives, and I've seen my own self change when people treat me in that fashion. So I have a testimony of the value of the work that I do, and I believe that when I do that with other people, they're going to change for the better, and they're going to have success. Well, you have to gain that confidence, and you don't gain it from reading a book or sitting in an office. You gain it from application. So that would be another piece of advice I would encourage you. Two last pieces of advice, and then we'll send you on your way. One, you are building a practice, and you are building a vehicle to create change for other people. Don't expect that you're the only one that's capable of doing that and that you have to do everything. Don't expect that you're going to have to be the expert in payroll and in HR and in taxes and in forms and in marketing and in billing and collecting. I mean, look at a large organization that have people that are hired that's all they do. And it's very tempting when you're first in practice to believe you have to do it all and you have to take every client that comes in the door. And I would strongly encourage you to rethink that. And that's related to my second piece of advice, which is slow down and let your business get ahead of you. What I mean by that is right now you might think, well, I'm so busy in my life. I got so much to do. I can't, I just can't do anything extra. And, my budget is X dollars a month, and now I'm working and I'm making X, how many dollars an hour, and I have to work this many hours to make enough. And then you're going to get a raise, and then you're going to immediately go out and buy a new iPhone or get a nicer car, or, oh, we need to have 2 cars, or, oh, and we really have to have a new car, and it really has to have leather seats and whatever. So what I encourage you to do is to take a couple of years and take your current standard of living and freeze it. And refuse to buy anything nicer than what you currently own. And then let your practice get ahead of that. Get licensed, get in practice, and you'll feel like I can barely make ends meet, and I'm only, I only have 3 clients to start my private practice, and you make it through those tough times, and then you get to a point where, wow, I'm getting flooded with referrals, and I'm really doing it. Keep your standard of living frozen for a while, and let your practice get ahead. Let it get to the point where you're making $1,000 to $2,500 a month extra that you don't need, and just sock that away. Always sock away 10% of all of your private practice revenue just for savings. Sock away another 10% for building and growing your practice, and then your overhead, and then take what's left. And if you do that, you'll get in a situation where your standard of living, I can't do this on this video, but your standard of living is in a certain place, and your ability to pay for that standard of living is above that. And then as your practice grows, like this, then this can grow too. But what we too often do is we do the opposite. Oh, here's my standard of living, and I'm not making it, but I made a little bit more money. Oh, I really need that new car. It really needed to have leather seats. And oh, my practice is growing. And like, you'll be like this all the time, and it's just exhausting. I can testify of that because I'm telling you this from experience. I didn't do it that way. I wish I had. And now that I'm in a new situation trying to build a practice again where I've moved from Utah to California, that's my commitment. So in summary, get excited about what you're doing, find out what you love, and then gain a testimony of its value in your life and in the lives of others, and then go out and work hard and offer that to the community, and get out into the community, do presentations, outreach, workshops, be known in your community as the person who's an expert at dealing with whatever problem you deal with, and always let your practice grow faster than your standard of living, and you'll be in really good shape. I'm available if you have any questions. My email is pbirch@thechicagoschool.edu. That's pbirch@thechicagoschool.edu. Email me anytime, and I've got open office hours. Let's see, Monday, Thursdays, and Fridays from 12 to 2. Just come on by, let me know how you're doing, and good luck.